Αγαπητοί
Dear fathers,
είμαι ευγνώμονος στο σεβασμιότατο τον Μητροπολίτη Ρόδου και την πλούσια φιλοξενία που μας.
dear fathers, dear brothers, I am grateful to His Eminence Kyrillos, Metropolitan of Rhodes, for the hospitality, and Father Stavros Kofinas for asking me to coordinate the 10th session. The appearance of virtual communities that are based on fast communication, asynchronous, email, forums, or real-time communication, such as the Zoom we just followed, are now substituting for territorially determined relations in human give and take. Nonetheless, there are people who are critical of the internet. They think that it leads to social isolation and the collapse of communication in the family. And it happens to some of us here. We see them, their eyes fixed on their mobile smartphones, their digital rattles, perhaps you should call them. So there are certain crucial questions, such as how do pastors and the ecclesiastical community deal with the lack of or the dwindling of the power of bodily relations? Can we deconstruct the Eucharistic base of the church community? How do we deal with digital populism and the way that it promotes information? On that, we will hear Emmanuel Sfakianakis, retired police general. He had served since 2004 up to 2016 as head of the prosecution of electronic crime, and handled over 10,000 serious cases out of the 28,000. He has been in charge of Europol, Interpol, etc. in their related activity. He was behind the CyberKid app and the Cyber Alert platform. He was a founder and president of CSI Institute and co-founder of CyberX, GDPR Greece, GRIS, and a number of corporate entities. He has authored scientific and children's books, and has been honored by the President of the Republic, the Academy of Athens, and UNICEF. You have the floor, sir.
Good afternoon. Thank you so much. Many thanks to the Patriarchate, to Father Kofinas, this great priest, and above all, I thank you, each one of you. Thank you in advance for your patience. Thank you for listening.
Το οποίο είναι φιλτραρισμένο και είναι κάτι το οποίο έχει να κάνει.
What I'm going to discuss is the most recent information available, because we keep dealing with more and more cases. I'm working on the internet for the last 27 years. I'm the first man who dealt with the internet. I'm the first one who dealt with cybercrime, and I'm creating the crime lab in Greece. It will be the third one in the world, and I'm in the people business, I'm in the behavior business, I'm in the technology business. I spend 21 hours per day on this subject. I created CSI after retiring from the police. We still love the police because the police, the Greek police, helped me become what I am today. So the first thing I did was to create the so-called, the largest network in Europe, 2 million people, the Cybersecurity International Institute. Our site receives daily about 2,500 calls concerning data, concerning protection. Unfortunately, all these are threats. We have 2,500 threats a day. So CSI, the CSI Institute, studies the internet, but as I said, 90% of these cases are high-risk cases. They're of concern to most of us. This is the negative aspect of the internet, although it accounts for only 2% of all activity on the web. Believe it or not. According to all information, yes, all this evil action comes from 2% of all activities on the web. So we're going to discuss this 2% of the World Wide Web. Before I start my presentation, let me say that I'm a fan of the internet. I live with internet. I'm addicted to internet, but this is a good addiction, not a bad addiction. I work using the internet 21 hours a day. I breathe through the internet. I mean it. Well, there's also what we call bad addiction. We have people addicted who live on the other side. What does that mean? We're talking about marginal people who are addicted with the bad size of the internet. They need to chat, they need to speak with unknown people without any real reason. Or we have the addicted ones, addicted with video games, addicted with gaming, which unfortunately lead to poor behavior. And we have those who are sick, who are badly addicted. This is a disease recognized worldwide. We're talking about addiction that may afflict children from 4 to 5 to 6 to 7 years old. So what really gets on my nerves is when I see toddlers in the street with a small screen in front of them, because it is their parents who place the iPad in front of these poor toddlers. Instead of enjoying nature, their parents condemn them to watching the same movie time and time again. We condemn this practice, and we condemn the companies that produce the special arrangement, the special support, so that children, toddlers of 2-3 years old can enjoy the iPad in front, an iPad in front of them. I remember Zacharias, 5 years old. He was brought to the institute by his parents, complaining that the child was not speaking, could not speak. It was dumb, yes, that's the expression we used. As soon as this child went to the nursery, to the kindergarten, he started speaking. Yes, of course, and he did not speak because he spent all his life until then before a screen. And no one was speaking to each other in the family. Zacharias was growing up alone, of course. He had no reason to speak. Zacharias never spoke. He only spoke when he got to the kindergarten, when he had to reply to the other children. And then everybody suddenly realized, oh, Zacharias is not dumb anymore. Zacharias is in good shape. He's a nice kid, just like any other kid. So this is my introduction, which brings me to the negative aspects of the web. It's not the fault of the web, of the internet. It's like a knife. The internet is a tool. The fact that we can kill people with a knife doesn't mean we have to abolish all knives on the planet. The same applies to electricity. Yes, of course, you can be electrocuted, but you need to know how you use electricity. The same applies to the internet. You need to know how you get knowledge from the internet. I will discuss Greece. We are 26th. We rank 26th in digital illiteracy in the EU. It's like someone who receives a gift, a Lamborghini or a Ferrari, and who doesn't know how to drive. You might get killed, or you will kill somebody else. It's as simple as that. It will be a miracle if you survive driving a Ferrari without having a driver's license. So, in Greece, unfortunately, we're facing an incredible situation. And the same applies to the world. Billions can be lost on the web. People have lost all their wealth. They had no idea about how the internet works. They were impressed by this or that site, and they started browsing. They kept browsing. Everything was rosy, and suddenly they started losing money left and right. And now these people, they can be 60, 70, 80, they are on drugs. Some of them have lost all their money, as I said. I know dozens of fellow citizens who have lost everything because they had blind faith to this or that website. They thought that with 250 euros they could become rich. And they read that in an impressive website, which looked like a bona fide website, and they sent their phone number and they sent 250 euros to become rich. And there's thousands of people like this. They entered the information of their credit cards, bank accounts, and they lost everything. They lost everything, literally. You will wonder, how can this be possible? Well, it is, dear friends. These things are happening as we speak. I can show you how people lose money on the internet. A chief of a political party in Greece just sent me an email concerning an attack from an internet site trying to convince them to invest in bitcoins. And they called me. Well, I must admit that many people would have invested, would have made the decision because it was so convincing. It was very convincing indeed. So the internet needs rules. The internet is a tool, but you need to learn the rules. CSI produces such rules on a daily basis. We don't receive any grants from the state. We are contributing to CSI in order to help build the future of the country. Well, no one is interested in tools these days. Most people are interested in selling applications, apps. So we are in favor of smart citizens, you know. We need to teach citizens how to use apps and then build apps one by one. So CSI, our foundation, our institute, is there for the citizen. And people make mistakes and then they come to us. They don't go to the state authorities. So we carry all this burden. So, as I said, we deal with all these citizens for the common good. We are treating people who are entangled in the dark web because they think that the internet was created by Jesus Christ and not by the crooks next door. Well, the internet is all these things, but you may have 58 scientists and one crook. How can you tell who is the crook at the end of the day? I was a prophet when I said that 1 out of 4 citizens in this country will have a problem. And unfortunately, I was right. 1 out of 4. Yes, this is crazy, but that's our reality. 1 out of 4.
Εδώ. Έτσι λοιπόν, έχουμε...
So, this is the internet. 84% is the internet penetration in Greece. 84%. In recent years, Greece has been endowed with dozens of applications through gov.gr. We became digital. And I have to praise Mr. Patriarchate, the minister in charge of digitalization. He paved the way to Greek citizens to use the internet in the proper way. Now I can use the internet without waiting in long queues at various ministries, agencies and authorities. So he saved us valuable hours and days and weeks. Unfortunately, most people are not aware of the progress achieved by Mr. Patriarchate. That's a shame. But what I can tell you is that progress has been made, and now Greece, in terms of digitization, ranks among the best countries in Europe. Many people worked very hard for that. Now, we now need Greece to become a huge school for Greek people to become more familiar with the web. There are applications, there are excellent applications, but we don't have enough education. So, advantages of the web: information, news, training, leisure. Everything goes through the web. Could you ever imagine life without internet? I heard the other day that some submarines could threaten the big cables under the oceans that carry data. Well, this would be a world war, a world disaster. I hope this is not true. But theoretically, submarines could destroy the cables that carry data from one continent to the other. Could you ever imagine a world without internet? Where would we be without internet? Everything would shut down. No banks, no stock exchanges, no communication, nothing. Everything around us would simply cease to exist. Okay, forget about the submarines, but the threat is there. And I also ought to say that all our life and all our lives go through the internet. This is progress. All information has been converted to digital information, to data. The same applies to crime. Conventional crime now is digital crime. All sorts of crime, all categories of crime can now be expressed digitally. All the good things and the bad things now are on the internet. So if someone destroys the internet infrastructure, suddenly this will be the dawn of an era and the beginning of a different one. I don't even want to think about it. Services on the web. Let's see the good aspect of internet. As I said, communications, email, chat, teleconference, TCP/IP. Now, on the negative side, well, I think I've said enough. Myths and truths, lies and truths. These are the myths that some people get addicted to until they lose everything. The first myth is that whatever I do on the internet is anonymous, therefore I'm totally free. We have to debunk this myth shared by many fellow citizens. No, there's nothing anonymous. We have an identity on the web, and everyone has his own or her own identity. A good researcher, a good investigator will find you anywhere because you leave a trace whatever you do. So first rule for all of us is on the web you have an identity. You're not unknown. Second myth. All news on the internet are founded and substantiated. Well, not really. There's a lot behind news, especially fake news. Fake news have penetrated our lives. What does that mean? Take the main dailies, the credible, the reliable sources of information. These websites host lots of advertising over which they have no control, absolutely no control. So they offer this space for rent to advertisers, where I read article A or B. So you will read tomorrow, that's how ship owner A or B became rich. You click on the news and you tend to believe what you've just read. Or you will read how journalist A or B lost 30 kilos by drinking drink A, B, or C. You click and you believe. And you drink the famous drink, and then you're in hospital on the same day. This is unfortunately the reality. You cannot all lose 30 kilos overnight. Why don't people ask whether this medication or drink is approved by the National Medicine Organization? Well, we have fake news and deep fake news. What is fake and what is deep fake? Fake news is, okay, you can get rich in 20 days. Deep fake news is seeing the Prime Minister, for example, Mr. Mitsotakis, saying how good is Mr. Tsipras, the chief of the opposition. You can change a video and make, indeed, the Prime Minister saying exactly the opposite of what he said. This is deep fake. You can modify a video and make people say exactly the opposite of what they really said, thanks to various algorithms and apps. So we have fake and deep fake. The second myth debunked is this, that all news are reliable. So let's exercise judgment in all cases. Do control all the time. Try not to believe whatever is thrown on your screen. Third myth debunked. Welcome to the member of the parliament. You can delete things from the internet. Well, another myth to be debunked. Whatever is uploaded will stay there forever, somewhere. No one can delete things completely. It takes a special intervention by specialized agencies to fully delete something. So when you delete something, it's that you cannot see it anymore. So you put an end to your stress, but all the others can see the content forever. Now, if you want to really delete something, there are special procedures. Ask me later and I can give you more information how this is done. Fourth myth to be debunked. Many people will try to sell you security software that offers 100% protection. Well, on the internet, there's never 100% protection. There is relative security. In Greece, there's even less security. Someone in New York was telling me the other day that Greece, from a digital point of view, is an unprotected country. All our internet doors are open and hackers are partying. So many businessmen are now paying the mistakes they have made. Hackers attack them. The other day I had a ship owner who sold a ship. He sent a message to Singapore saying, "Hi, it's about the ship, etc. I need the 6 million on this account." In a few minutes, there's another email offering a different account. The hacker was working underground. He had penetrated the boss's email and he sent a fake email sending the money to the wrong account, to his own account. So this company in Singapore sent the money to the hacker's account. So the ship owner asked for the money 20 days later, and of course he was shocked when he learned where the money had actually gone. And this because the IT manager of his company had set an easy password for protection. 1 to 9, yes, that was the IT manager. And the hackers know that. So you need to think when you act on the internet. So the citizens and companies need to take special measures. They all have problems. Ransomware is another threat. Another good friend called me at 2 o'clock in the morning. He told me we cannot even use our tills. The hacker had locked everything in that hotel and he was asking for 1 million in Bitcoin. This is just one of many, too many incidents. You realize once again that there's no security on the internet. And then when you go to a company and try to convince someone to buy protection, like in other countries, well, you become automatically an enemy. As if people prefer to pay twice as much to the hackers. The church has computers, by the way. You have your own problems. You communicate over the internet. So all these risks, all these threats are threats for everyone. The threats are there for schools, for the church, for everyone. So for myth debunked, the truth is that there's no 100% protection. Those of you who use illegal software you're in higher risk. All this free software includes bots that monitor your computer. These are the things you don't know. These are the false economies. You install free antivirus, for example, and suddenly you are checked by the police because supposedly you were a member of a massive attack, massive cyber attack. And then you're supposed not to know anything about it, but the truth is that through this free software, your computer was hacked, and some other hackers bought the management of the control of your computer. Or they use your computer to do crypto mining. While you sleep, some hackers in India do the work for you. They use 10,000 computers, 10,000 hacked computers to use the electricity you pay and your computer to mine cryptocurrencies. That's how it works. That's what you should know. So let's become wiser and let's transmit this information to our friends, to people for who we care. Well, for myths debunked now, social media. We all live on social media. In Greece, just in Greece, 8.5 million people are users of the internet. 1.5 million is what? Babies and toddlers. Social media. Why do we use social media? Well, to communicate, to buy stuff, for leisure, to read news, etc. Social media supposedly were created to provide information. And there are good reasons for us to be on social media, but let's be on social media for the right purpose. For example, to receive information, to read the news, or to meet with friends, or to relax and talk to classmates. It's my case. I say good morning to my former classmates. It's a warm good morning. That's fine. But some mothers use social media because they have other intentions in the back of their minds. To find a bride, for example. They are 65 and they think they have found the love of their life in New York. They are ready to fly to New York to meet their future wife. They cannot understand these people are crooks. There are crooks who have stolen thousands and thousands of euros. And we're trying to convince poor people who are 65 or more who think they have found a bride in New York or elsewhere. And they're ready to fly, as I said, to New York. And we stop them with their suitcases at the airport. This is so wrong. Is it ever possible that you're 70 and you think that you have found someone on the web in New York and that you're ready to fly to meet someone who you have never seen in your entire life? Okay, I understand what is falling in love in real life, but picture this. You've never seen anyone and you have sent to this person 200,000, 300,000 euros. Can you ever believe? But this is happening. And you're ready to leave your children, your grandchildren, ready to fly to New York after having sent this person thousands and thousands of Europe. Well, there's good internet and bad internet. I'm sorry, the internet is not fit for this sort of affair. You cannot expect everything from the internet. And then advertising, 30% of which is just fraudulent transactions. People buy shoes and they receive stones in a box. Someone else tried to buy a snake from Mexico, and now they make a fuss because they never received the snake from Mexico. This is ludicrous. And that's because people think that whatever they read is real, is the truth. This is ludicrous. As I said, people read something on the internet and they have the impression that they read the Bible. This is so wrong, because there are groups of crooks and who try to destroy everyone on the internet. And there's more. There are threats against the country, but I will stop here. Some truths. This is official data. The average Greek spends 6 hours and 6 minutes per day on the internet. 92.2% of users own a mobile device, and these people spend 1 hour 50 minutes per day on social media. More data, I will skip that. The best known platforms in Greece: Facebook, Instagram, TikTok and Twitter. You can see here the users: Facebook 5.5 million, and Messenger 4.5, Instagram 2.35, LinkedIn 1.7 million, etc., etc. Pros and cons of networking. Yes, networking, personal links, this is very important. Information and career building, business, communication, etc. It's true that e-shops, for example, can be created even if you live in a small village in Greece. There's a huge possibility thanks to the internet. The cons: addiction. I remember I met a distinguished gentleman at some point in time and who complained about his wife. His wife has 3 children. She had stopped taking care of the children. She spent all her life on the internet, and the other day he said she lost her mobile phone while cooking lentils. So that was the complaint. It was all chat and likes and likes and likes. This is a disease. Well, I told him I cannot do anything. She needs a psychiatrist, not a psychologist. Second, bullying, cyberbullying. Another scourge, especially for children, especially in schools. Children bully their classmates, they become aggressive, they use sexual content to bully their classmates, they upload this content on social media. This is one of the worst developments nowadays, that our children face cyberbullying. We should be in control in these cases. Talk to your children. This is the secret. When children do not talk with their parents, they are more prone to become victims of blackmailing by classmates. Please keep that. This is very important. A 14-year-old in Rhodes became victim of a blackmail campaign, of a bullying campaign. That was yesterday. She was on the brink of doing things, but we saved her at the last minute. So talk to your children. Encourage your children to talk to you. We don't want children to feel fear. If they don't talk to you, then you should suspect that they have a problem, and then it can be too late. You must talk to your children should talk to you. Parents should be friends to their children and not the authority who prohibits this or that. This is a huge mistake. We don't control our children, but we supervise them and we provide support. I don't like people who ask me, how can I monitor all my children's activity? This is wrong. Then, exposure to malware, pornographic material, challenge games, leading children even to commit suicide. These challenges are destroying the soul of our children. And mind you, it's a mistake to allow our children at the age of 6, 7, 8, or even 12, 13 to be exposed to TikTok and so on. So many children are on Instagram and TikTok at the age of 9. This is wrong. This is totally wrong. You cannot have young girls, 9 years old, dancing and swaying in front of the camera to give pleasure to crooks. Children are abducted because of these pedophiles who are on TikTok. We have so many cases, we're dealing with. Of course, these people are unscrupulous. Yes, we can upload pictures, but we don't provoke pedophiles. If you want to take pictures of your children, you can take proper pictures and not your young girl playing tennis, showing their underwear. This is common sense. I'm not a mathematician, but I know very well the dangers of internet. I know how these crooks, these fraudsters work. We cannot ban pictures. Our institute just says no to provocative pictures. Children should properly dress when they are taking pictures. You cannot allow sexy appearances of 9-year-olds. And then they're approached, and these pedophiles will send gifts to these children. You cannot expect a 9-year-old to have judgment and defend herself. So if your 9-year-old wants to upload something on TikTok, fine, yes, but in a closed group, not in an open group. Yes, of course, it's not easy, but you need to explain why they only need to upload stuff on closed groups. And when they want to dance, yes, of course, but again, in a small group, in a closed group, not exposed to hundreds of millions of people. It's as simple as that. Phishing. Credit cards are in danger. Bank accounts are in danger. Mobile phone numbers. Don't say yes to anyone who wants to connect. It's too easy. People will befriend you to steal money from you. I know people here in Greece, I'm not talking about Africa, they sent to people who they did not know the management of their computer through TeamViewer. You know how this works. You send a code and you allow somebody else to control your computer. But can you do that to an unknown person? How could you ever believe that Microsoft is interested in your computer? And people tend to believe, yes, that this unknown person is from Microsoft and they allow access to their own personal computer where they keep the money and everything. This is unbelievable. This is common sense. And then it's not the bank's fault, you know. And finally, we're running out of time. Metaverse, the metaverse era. This is a sea change. The term metaverse raises critical question. Is our future really? Is the passing fashion? Is virtual reality our future? Well, let me put it as simply as I can. This is the development of Facebook, goggles that you don and you think you are where you want to be. Well, in ancient Greece, take your pick, Las Vegas, in the stock exchange, you just don the goggles and your brain in a few seconds will be transferred to, for example, ancient Greece. You can just imagine all the mental disease that will become rife. You may want to see yourself among Playboy pets, for example, having sex. This is metaverse, the metaverse era. Personally, I'm neither for nor against. I think I can control myself. A few days ago, I donned these goggles and visited other lives. And 3 minutes later, I said, no, thank you. I was being punched by someone. You think you're in a bar, for example, and there is a row, and people are beating you up. My mind went mad. So, and this product will be sold on open markets in a few months or years. How can people resist this product, this virtual reality? People are not that robust, not that ready to survive in the metaverse era. They cannot survive vis-a-vis these messages, scientific, sexual, or other. This is the metaverse era. This is the next reality. Well, the term comes from Greek meta and verse, universe. It's a post-universe, if you will. This post-universe is promoted by Zuckerberg. These are the goggles I was telling you about. They're cheap, mind you, so practically everyone can buy them. And they become cheaper and cheaper. They become more attractive, and virtual reality becomes more attractive. And of course, someone will retort, I don't have the money to go to Paris, to the Louvre. Why not visit the Louvre through metaverse? Spend 3 hours through metaverse. Well, this is a good example, but we're talking about different experiences that I don't even want to think of. So the forthcoming era, the metaverse era, yes, has some advantages, many advantages, too many probably, there's a conference taking place in Athens as we speak on metaverse shops. Markets and shops are being built on metaverse. Soon, if you don't have a shop on metaverse, you will not even exist on the marketplace. We will soon all have to create our shops on metaverse. So in order to go shopping, you will simply don the goggles and you can transfer yourself to Las Vegas and do your shopping in Las Vegas. This is the new reality. Well, I like that. Why not? I would be able to shop all over the world. But how resilient are people? Shopping can mean a lot of things. And let me conclude by saying that the metaverse will make the situation much more difficult. It will mean mental disease, mental conditions. In the metaverse, without the right culture, you lose your bearings on all levels. I've seen that happening. We are still in the beginning, but the beginning is very close to the end in this case. That's metaverse. Metaverse will upturn our societies, will disrupt everything, all our societies all over the planet. Thank you very much for listening.